The Da Vinci Code, 2006. The Da Vinci Code caused a stir for many people who began questioning whether Leonardo da Vinci had hidden deep secrets in his artwork, or whether his interior decorator had a brilliant sense of irony. The film, based on the best-selling novel by Dan Brown, raised eyebrows due to its controversial suggestion that Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ had a secret family. For many, the idea was shocking. Religious groups, particularly those who viewed Jesus as wholly untouched by human desires, found this portrayal deeply offensive. The film seemed to suggest that Leonardo's art was not just beautiful, but cryptic, offering hidden clues about the origins of Christianity. By weaving a controversial narrative around famous religious symbols, the movie took liberties that stirred outrage from multiple religious groups around the globe. In many places, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and others with stringent religious sentiments, the film faced outright bans. These countries couldn't accept a movie that portrayed religious institutions in such a provocative way. The story was considered too spicy, too controversial, and too potentially damaging to faith. This led to censorship, with countries opting to bury the film under the weight of public disapproval. The Human Centipede, 2009. The Human Centipede is the movie that redefined horror in the most grotesque way possible. Instead of fear stemming from the supernatural or grotesque monsters, this film stirred horror through its sheer repulsiveness. The plot follows a deranged German doctor who attempts to create the perfect human centipede by surgically joining three people, mouth to anus. What follows is a stomach-turning spectacle of depravity and body horror. This film was so repulsive that it became infamous for its shocking content. Banned in multiple countries, it left audiences either horrified or in disbelief. With its graphic violence and intense, disturbing imagery, the film earned a reputation that was as revolting as it was controversial. In its quest to shock, it crossed a line, making it difficult for anyone with a faint stomach to watch without feeling physically ill. Countries across the world censored or outright banned the movie, as it was seen as a horrific assault on the senses, with no redeeming qualities. If you haven't seen it, consider yourself lucky. Cannibal Holocaust, 1980. If you ever thought dining out was an enjoyable experience, Cannibal Holocaust might change that. This infamous film, set in the Amazon rainforest, follows a documentary crew who disappear while filming indigenous tribes. Their footage, when discovered, reveals unspeakable acts of violence and cannibalism performed by the tribes. The movie became notorious not just for its depiction of horrific violence, but also for the rumors that the actors were genuinely harmed on set. While these rumors were unsubstantiated, the level of brutality on screen, coupled with the real-life deaths of animals during filming, led many to believe that the movie was more a documentary than a work of fiction. Governments and censorship boards around the world banned it. And even today, the film's reputation as a shocking piece of cinema remains. If you have the stomach to watch it, you'll understand why it became one of the most infamous movies in horror history. Mouse, 2008. Mouse is a film based on the famous graphic novel by Art Spiegelman, which portrays the horrors of the Holocaust using anthropomorphic animals. Jews are depicted as mice, while the Nazis are represented as cats. While the graphic novel received widespread acclaim, the film adaptation faced resistance due to its sensitive and heartbreaking subject matter. Some felt that this portrayal, though innovative, trivialized the immense human suffering of the Holocaust by reducing it to an allegory using animal characters. The film was banned in several countries for the graphic nature of its depiction and its potential to confuse younger viewers. The Holocaust is an event that demands solemnity and respect. And Mouse, though brilliant in its artistic vision, was seen by some as detracting from the weight of that history. While some critics praised it for offering a fresh perspective, others felt it was disrespectful to depict such a serious historical tragedy through the lens of an animal fable. For many, it was too sensitive a subject to explore in this manner. The Last Temptation of Christ, 1988. The Last Temptation of Christ is a movie that explores the hypothetical question, what if Jesus Christ had chosen to live a normal human life instead of his divine mission? Directed by Martin Scorsese, the film portrays Jesus struggling with earthly temptations, including marriage, family life, and mundane human desires. This depiction was not just controversial, it was blasphemous in the eyes of many religious groups. For the church, the idea that Jesus would be tempted by the thought of a normal life, complete with family and responsibilities, was offensive. Many Christian groups organized protests declaring the film blasphemous for portraying Jesus as a human being with relatable, flawed desires. The film faced widespread condemnation, particularly from more conservative religious factions. It raised questions about faith, sacrifice, and the nature of divinity, but for many, it was too close to heresy. Pink Flamingos, 1972. Pink Flamingos is a film that seems to be created with the singular goal of breaking every taboo imaginable. The story follows Divine, a drag queen, on a mission to prove that she is the filthiest person alive. The film contains scenes so outrageous, public defecation, eating dog feces, and more, that it feels designed to shock. Though critically lauded for its audacity and ability to push boundaries, Pink Flamingos is infamous for its complete disregard for decency. It was banned in various places not because it was poorly made, but because it was provocative and deliberately offensive. The film's goal was to challenge every societal norm, creating a work that is either loved for its rebellious spirit or rejected as offensive and unwatchable. If you want a film that challenges your comfort zone in the most extreme way possible, Pink Flamingos delivers on that front. Just be prepared for the outrageous. The Dictator, 2012. The Dictator is another Sacha Baron Cohen movie that, like his earlier films, uses satire to mock authority and dictatorship. The movie follows General Aladdin, a ruthless North African dictator who, after being ousted from power, fumbles his way through the democratic society of New York City. The film takes aim at everything authoritarian regimes stand for: corruption, cruelty, and the absurdity of dictatorship, using humor to expose the ridiculousness of the system. However, for countries with a long history of dictatorship, the film's humor wasn't taken lightly. It was viewed as a direct insult to their leadership and political structures. In nations where authoritarian regimes still hold sway, The Dictator was seen as a dangerous piece of satire that could incite rebellion. It was banned in various Arab countries who took offense at the portrayal of dictatorship, fearing it would undermine their control. Monty Python's Life of Brian, 1979. Monty Python's Life of Brian is a comedy about a man, Brian Cohen, who was born on the same day as Jesus and mistakenly assumed to be the Messiah. The film humorously critiques religious dogma and the absurdity of blind faith, which led to widespread outrage among religious groups. The satire is sharp, and many religious communities found the film offensive, considering it a mockery of sacred biblical stories. Some local councils in the UK even banned the movie for fear it might lead to public blasphemy. The film's comedy, while lighthearted, poked fun at religion in a way that didn't sit well with those who cherish the sanctity of their beliefs. It was a humorous take on biblical events, but For many, it felt like an attack on their faith. Life of Brian became a classic, but also a lightning rod for controversy. American Sniper, 2014. American Sniper follows the story of Chris Kyle, a Navy SEAL sniper credited with the most kills by a sniper in U.S. military history. While the film is a patriotic tribute to his heroism, it became a controversial depiction of the Iraq War and the U.S. military's involvement in the Middle East. For many in the Middle East, the movie presented a one-sided, glorified version of American military actions, showing U.S. forces as righteous and the opposing forces as evil. This portrayal angered many who viewed the film as propagandistic, especially in countries directly affected by the conflicts. The film was banned in several countries, not necessarily for its graphic content, but for its portrayal of the war from a distinctly American perspective. It stirred international debate over the narrative surrounding the Iraq War, and its political undertones made it a hot-button issue.